Thank you.
It's just the members room, we're not going to need to.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday, the 24th of September's Finance and Governance Committee. There will be no saluting of the flag or similar. Sorry. Welcome all that present. Thank you, councillors. Thank you to those also watching online. I'm aware that Councillor Nickinson is joining us as a substitute for Councillor O'Leary. Thank you very much. And there are no other apologies because there's the right number of us here. Excellent. Yes. No. Yeah, happy to propose that we accept that. Bell, happy to second it. Votes for is is. Thank you very much. There are no declarations of interest pre-notified this evening. Would anyone would like to change that situation? Not right now, that's great. Do wave a hand if you realise that you might well be conflicted in some way. Item 4, the minutes of the last meeting. Our task here is to approve those minutes of the last formal meeting held on the 23rd of July of this year as a true and accurate record. I've looked through them. I don't see any particular issue. No one is looking at me desperate to speak on it. So I propose that we accept those. Councillor Northern, are you happy to second them?
Yes.
Excellent. Votes for.
That is unanimous.
Excellent. Well done, everyone. Item 5, councillor questions. None have been received to be included with the agenda prior to it being dispatched. But does anyone have a question they would like to ask at this point? David? No? Okay. Thank you very much. And we're not aware of any public questions. There are no members of the public.
Vote on the minutes. Did we not just do?
We did.
Yeah.
We did, sorry, I did rather rapid through it.
Sorry, where was I?
I don't know.
I was fifth.
You were here with Bobby because you voted for them. Thank you.
Something else. Sorry.
No problem at all. No public questions have been received, so we will skip on to item number 7, which is the grant policy update, which our deputy town clerk will introduce.
Thank you, Chair. If you wouldn't mind just indulging me just for 2 minutes.
Always.
I'm just conscious, Chair, that we may have some new members of this committee who may not be fully aware of the process which was agreed last year. So just to say, just for a bit of background, we did review the grant policies last year. We tried to make them more simplistic to encourage community groups to come forward with their applications. We had a process now whereby a month before the meeting in which they're considered, there's 3 meetings, they are July, November and March. The former Vice Chair, Mr. McKeon, we will be sending the applications to you the month before to have a sense check on some of those. They then get sent to all the councillors the week after that so that they can have a look through those applications, and if they have any queries, we can go back to the applicants at that stage, and also if there's any real burning questions, then we can invite the applicants. But the process was designed because we only do this 3 times a year to try it and streamline. So we only encourage applicants to come if there is a real question which needs to be answered. Yeah, and then the applications then go out thereafter as part of the agenda. So that's the process which has been agreed. Just to put that in, Chair, because we may have to just circulate that if you do the substitutions, because it is a new process. For example, I know that was Northern will be a different process than you used to sort of prior. So I just thought it was worth mentioning that if there's any questions after that this meeting, if people want clarification, happy to provide it. So we have got the new forms. We are trying to simplify it and make it easier for those community groups to come forwards. There are a couple of amendments based on some of the questions which come along time after time, and they're listed. And it may be, Chair, that I don't know if Councillor Bowman would just like to mention any of those as a champion of the grants process, and if not, then
Appropriate.
Well, my first point was to thank you again for having gone through this process last year and for casting an eye over it to add a bit of clarification once again. So yeah, have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thanks, members. So basically, just through our collective experience of this new committee, or rather newer committee last year in the process of grants, I kind of just wanted to pull in all of those questions that we tend to ask quite often, and those sort of bits of grey area that just need to tighten up, that we don't require people to come a long distance or any distance to answer, because they're quite, sensible questions, I'd like to think. But I took a range from what we fed back and what I think works, which are, as you can see, clarification on annual events. An annual event is rolling, therefore we can consider that ongoing costs, which we've all agreed since day dot that this grant policy is not to fund ongoing costs, it is more traditional capital spends. To set out the language about applicants coming to meetings, not that we don't want applicants coming to meetings, but sometimes if we're giving the grant, they don't need to come, even if they want to. I think it's more, and it's important that we don't require them to come, because we know that we're going to give you the money, or perhaps, we're out of it. Requests for applicants to identify where projects would build. So I thought this was an interesting one to put in, because we deliver so many services across the town. It might be quite nice just to know in black and white when those organisations, voluntary groups, or whatever, or whomever it is that's applying for the grant, where does that add on to our service? Where does that enrich our service as councillors and as local town council? And then lastly, to identify where grant fundings go towards members. So members will always think of applicants that have come forward, and we don't really know where it's going all the time, especially when it comes to professional fees or fees within an organisation that you could think of a sport. I'll just use a pub football team perhaps, and they pay their manager. Now that's quite rare. It's not liquid monetary value, pub league football, but however, they could just have that to pay their manager, which probably wouldn't be, correct for us as members if we thought so. So it just puts it in black and white, just lets us know exactly where that money's going. Sorry, there's a lot. I know it's there, but I've done a lot of work, so I just want to get that over.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other thoughts, councillors? Councillor Lowe.
Thank you. It's only an observation really. Under number 13, can we be absolutely sure that those grant applications come to us? It says 2 weeks before F&G for consideration. Can we make absolutely sure that it is in a timely fashion? Because sometimes it isn't. And we do end up with such a short period of time that we don't have the answer to a question that can be fairly significant. And if everyone else is happy, one sort of feels that you shouldn't be asking this question because nobody else has thought of it, but it's still niggling you that it's maybe not right, or you wanted more information. So really it's just an observation that we do need to, it needs to be a minimum of 2 weeks so that we can keep abreast of it. And bearing in mind that, many of you are juggling an awful lot of balls in the air in your daily work lives.
Thank you. Councillor Norton.
So I'm happy with the intent and the words that are in the agenda and the policy. I have a question, a suggestion. Question 8 says, how is your organisation normally funded? And we've added further questions to that. But it says, how is your organisation normally funded? Not applicable to new organisations. I believe the words not applicable to new organisations should still apply to the next couple of questions, which are, does the project build on any specific services that the council will provide? And will any grant funding go towards specific services or towards paying members of your organisation? I think that should be not just on new or.
My understanding, if I may, Chair, just to do some clarity, if we just take the question in parts. So the first part is, how is your organisation normally funded? If they're a brand new organisation, they wouldn't have had funding previously, so I can see why that would apply.
Yeah.
The next one, does the project build on any specific services that the council already deliver? And that could be, yes, it could. So it's applicable for all applications.
Okay.
And the next part is around, will the grant be used to pay for any members of your organisation? And that applies to all new and existing organisations. So it's just that first one, because
Yeah.
they wouldn't normally be funded for this brand new. I think that was the spirit.
Absolutely.
If I may, Chair, sorry to interrupt, Ian. Yes, what's missing there is that should be 8 and then 9 and then 10 afterwards. They're not supplementary questions 2.8.
That's what I read in that,
Yes.
and that's why there was confusion.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like what the intent, just need to make it clear.
Yeah, so they would have numbers next to them within the questions to demarcate them.
Question, thank you. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
So
Propose it, Councillor
are you,
Absolutely.
just to clarify, if you don't mind, Chair, is that okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
So would you like those numbers changed from 8? Because at the moment you're going 8 to 9 with
Yes,
2 reds in between.
yeah, they should read as 8, 9 and 10, so
Yeah.
I think it was just somewhere within the formatting that
Okay.
it didn't make it. It didn't
Yeah.
generate the number that it normally did.
And we will,
Yes,
we will just take those as.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Councillor Lynch.
yeah, so yeah, I'd like to propose the changes, please.
Fantastic, just a second. Thank you very much, Councillor Northern. Votes for?
Please, unanimous, Chair.
Thank you, members.
Flying information this evening. Okay, item 8 is a particular grant application from Bravefold Drama. Ian, can you introduce this one? What was the book? It's
Thank you. So at the last committee meeting, I know there were a few people away, but this application was considered at the last committee, and members requested that additional information be sought on the points raised in red. I did try to send this email around prior to the meeting, but I have a feeling that some of you may have had it, some of you may not. There's something wrong with the distribution link, so apologies for that. But these are the responses which have come back from the applicant. And it sort of clarified those points that we needed raised. So in light of those, members are being asked, to consider the application. The officer recommendation is that it is approved.
Would anyone like to speak to this one? Councillor Fallon.
Question, what do we currently have in the grant pot? Can we afford it before we worry about spending it?
So the first tranche, we've had £25,000 in the pot, for which we had significantly left over. So that will be rolled over to tranche 2. So in answer, yes, we have.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Nicholson and then Councillor.
So can I just ask, when we look at the second bold paragraph, as per the budget, we're submitting the split of £4,500, people's time to undertake project. Does that not come under what we were talking about, 8, 9, 10? What would be 10? Will any funding go towards paying any member of your organisation for goods or services?
Yes.
It does.
Well, we're sorry, yeah.
So this is always a sort of that area which comes up. So we would consider paying members of your organisation if you are members of that organisation and you form part of it. This is more around bringing in artists to facilitate the work which is being undertaken rather than paying people who are part of that organisation.
Right, thank you.
Councillor Nicholson.
They say in the thing, how will this benefit residents of Weymouth? And it says, we specialise in making innovative, engaging family theatre, which is specifically designed to be able to tour effectively to non-conventional community spaces, such as schools, so they're not a community space, libraries, they're not a community space, and community centres. Doesn't sound right to me. How can they be going to non-conventional community spaces? when all those spaces are quite conventional.
They might have been as well as.
I think they might mean that they're not conventional places that you might have a theatre performance.
That's how I read it.
They're not conventional theatre spaces, are they?
Weymouth Library and Beechcroft Primary have hosted totally free performances of our shows before. It's just the application just doesn't make any sense to me, but there you go. Perhaps it's just me.
Well, it does, sorry, Jim, it does seem pretty straightforward that that they're asking for us to pay for staff, not capital. Which is not what the policy's for, is it?
No, that's what Ian was trying to clarify then. We're not paying for staff. You can't have a performance of that type without
paying
for it. Councillor Webb.
Going back to Ian's answer to Councillor Nicholson's question, I don't think that it makes it clear that these people who are performing are not part. I know it only says 3 members, but these performance groups tend, and it's not terribly clear. These performances tend to be quite small, and they work with the children in the school or in the library or whatever. And I am not convinced that we aren't paying the facilitators of this performance. And in that spirit, I don't think it falls within our remit. So I'm a little uncomfortable with supporting it, to be perfectly honest. I was before, and I'm not convinced now either. That probably feels sounds very uncultural, but so be it.
Thank you. Councillor Furman.
Yeah, I take the point of members. I'm just going to come at from probably a more positive side. The thing that did strike me in reference to our conversation in the last item was that it builds on our current service. So we've created the mural trail, which is a proud part of Weymouth Town Council's work. And I'm just flagging it up as a positive there for that application, that it does build on that service.
Yes, absolutely.
And I totally take the point that, yes, it's not clear who is financially benefiting from this, but what is clear is who's going to benefit, which is more so across the schools and children, and it is inspired by the work that we've been able to do and the legacy of the town.
Yeah.
So in my mind, is it worth that? I don't know, but policy wise, does it conflict too much that we can't vote for it anyway? I take points from both sides, but I think it does deliver I mean, we've never had an application in my mind that quite delivers in this way, which is taking an existing service and taking it to the people that we want to contact, which is, children, young families, things like that. So I don't see it.
If you have, thank you for that. I think if you have an organisation that's putting in 198 hours work, it's not unreasonable to expect for someone to cover that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pro bono, and then there's the equivalent of what's that? Just over 5 weeks full-time work for a person.
And I wouldn't consider it a running cost as well, because it is a standalone project, isn't it?
Yes.
From what I read, it's not something that would return. So it would perhaps count us out of the ongoing costs.
Yes, Councillor Weller and then Councillor Morgan and then Councillor.
So just coming back on that, I absolutely take your point, and I think that the museum have recently put in a listening post down at the harbour, and it's really good. And I get the impression that this is a similar sort of thing. So by the mural, there'll be the opportunity to get that little bit, and anybody who's listened to the project that was done on the reminiscences of the Second World War of residents from here, done by children in schools, record those memories recorded by them for us all to listen to on our laptops, is really good. So I really like the end project.
Mm.
And I absolutely see how that enhances the great work we did on the mural trail. So that is the strong point. It does fall down, I think, on the, we are paying people to do this, and that's not what we should be doing. But if, you know, these people, they've got to live, haven't they? And it's a balance that ultimately we here have to make, but it does enhance something that we've already done and created, and we want it to be even better than it is at the moment, don't we?
Thank you for that. Your reflection there on the wartime stories reminded me a lot of early evening in the Albert on a Friday about 15 years ago.
Let's not get-
Week in, week out. Councillor Northern.
Thank you. I'm glad we've got the question in the form, and I'm glad we've got an answer to the form. I feel we now know what we're signing up for. And I agree there's still nuances around this, and that's why we vote as a committee. If we agree as a committee, then we go forward. So I'm happy to vote on this, and I accept that some remuneration to the people involved is not unreasonable. But I'm glad that now we have that information in front of us and are doing this knowingly.
Thank you for that. Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Chair. Just one question. They're asking for 4,950, but when they say, who else are you who else have you, how else, sorry, are you funding your project? They haven't answered that, so presumably nobody at the moment. If we decided not to give them the whole amount of money, would that mean that they wouldn't go ahead with it, or?
I think the honest answer is we don't know, but that's a reasonable assumption that at the very least we would cause a delay to that process while they try to find monies from elsewhere. With no guarantee of success. Sorry, that's a very loaded way of putting it.
They were saying no then, and saying yes here.
Councillor Bell.
I'm just thinking outcome focused. There's a good product at the end of it. It's involving our community. It's going to be on a free app, compatible with smartphones. It links to our previous work. For me, I realise we've got a lot of the detail in the finance side. I'm satisfied that we are producing essentially a product for our community which is beneficial. So for that reason, I like the concept of it. I like the involvement of the local children. I like the fact all the community can access it afterwards. Therefore, I'm inclined to support it.
Thank you for that. Councillor Dickinson.
If somebody could just explain, we have a commercial subscription service which generates income to cover our core overheads. What is a commercial subscription service?
I think it depends a lot on the industry.
Well, it's what they're saying they do. And they're saying that their overheads are £3,000 a year. In the form.
Yeah, I don't know, is the honest answer. I'm not entirely sure that it's strictly relevant to this application though. If you follow me.
Well, it was to follow up with Councillor Nickinson. What have you done take place in the last 12 months? Well, he says the overheads of the company annually are £3,000, so that's all their overheads are. I ran a 10K to encourage sponsorship. We have a commercial, which I don't know what that is. We sell bespoke merchandise and books we have written connected to our shows and previous art things. So they are fundraising.
Yeah.
They say they only need to cover their overheads £3,000. So why are they asking for 4,950?
Because that's for this specific project rather than their usual overhead, is my understanding.
Yeah.
That's a sensible question. Any other thoughts? Because if not, I will propose that we vote on it. Anyone like to second that? Councillor Furman, thank you very much. Votes for.
There's 8.
Okay, votes against. Abstentions? 1. Sorry.
Abstention.
Good, thank you. Thank you very much. Good debate, thank you all. Item 9 is the review of the reserves, which Ian will present, or introduce rather, again, present. Sorry.
So this report, members, has been put on the agenda as a result of, some of you may recall, at full council, it was requested that this committee review the reserves which we hold. I think, having had discussions since the agenda's gone out, particularly quite a good 20 minutes yesterday at the members briefing. I'm not convinced, Chair, that this may have come slightly too early. Because I have, my gut feeling is, and again, we can talk about some, to give you some background on this stuff. But it feels like when we start talking about priorities and we don't know quite what they are going to be for the next financial year, it may be that we need to look at the reserves on that basis and make recommendations to change them to suit those priorities. And I wouldn't want to, I'm more than happy for that debate to carry on, Chair, that's, it's just an observation, but I just wouldn't want to waste time doing something if actually some of that work will need to be done again. That said, happy to provide any clarification on any of these reserves if we have before us, if that will help going forward. And I would also, sorry, last point, it will also form part of the budget work group to sort of see these and try and join this up with some work.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Weller, I know you wanted to speak on this.
I
Far on.
only that I'm inclined to agree with Ian that it almost seems a little bit premature because we haven't done that priority work. But it may be that others have questions on the specifics of the
Yes.
the sums of money, but the sort of allocation, approving allocations and so on, I think is premature.
Thank you. Does anyone have any sort of specific points they'd like to make or questions? All right, Councillor.
Thank you. I noticed the Redlands reserve of 35k, and I remember when we saved Redlands from being closed, the town council made a commitment to support certain things. And I'm assuming that this money is against those commitments, or is it just money we're holding back in case there's a need? Because if there's a need, I can think of some suggestions.
So in response to that, Chair, members may recall that initially we agreed still funding to help Redlands, which was for 2 years at £35,000 per year. It was agreed in June that we would support them for another year. It's still their general running costs, and it came from the underspending last year. And then the decision going forward, the members will be, if they wish to make that permanent and build it into the base budget. So it's just for this current financial year support for the Redlands as a whole, rather than it's
And we award it to them. We don't direct how they spend it in any way. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Do you still have other areas you'd like to spend a similar amount of money?
So one of the big things happening at Redlands is the planning application for the car parking and additional facilities there, which is going forward, which will help that facility. I think we need to be keeping an eye on how it's developing and evolving.
And thank you for that. Councillor Dickinson.
Well, I think it's been a good success since they got rid of Dorset Council running it, or whoever was running it before that, the college, thank you. And I think it's been a success. Along with Pavilion, along with things like that are happening on the harbour side. And I would like to see him carry on getting that.
Would it be fair to say that as a committee, we are in favour of community interest groups?
Yeah. No, I just think it needs saying that they have done,
absolutely.
and it's on record then, that they've done very well.
Agreed.
I mean, what was it, millions to repair, wasn't it, we were told, Kate? That didn't happen, did it?
Well, that was after we wrote the millions that they already owed.
Yeah, but I think it's a good project. It's not everybody in Weymouth will use it, but it's there. And if you want, then they're redoing all the pitches now, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And have a walk around the perimeter. They put a new path in, and it nearly goes all the way around, but the Harris fencing stops you going all the way around. But they're reworking the 4G pitches to 5G pitches, which presumably go faster.
Yeah.
There really is a lot of work here.
Well,
It's a well done, I should think, should be sent from the town council. Well done, keep it up, and hopefully you'll be able to say there's another 35 coming this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. From a personal point of view, took my son to his sort of first cricket at age 5 in the sun, and to just see how busy it was on a Saturday, it's absolutely fantastic. There's a new AstroTurf for the hockey club, not exclusively for the hockey club, but we talked about the football pitches. Let's kick it. You can't get 5G in Wayne.
Broadcast from Ruddy Pole. See the amount of people using that stuff down there now.
Yep.
Brilliant. Keep it going.
Agreed. Good, Ian.
Just on that, Chair, just to add something onto the record, the paper will be coming back with the options, because it could be the fact that, and this is a good news story, that they're developing enough that actually they don't require any funding going forwards.
Yeah.
Shows that,
Or a reduced amount, or
yeah, so we will bring that back.
we continue to support them as appropriate. Oh, Peter writes them a blank check. Sorry, Councillor Atkinson. Although I fully support the gist, so Councillor Norton.
Given some of this enthusiasm, which I share, might we suggest that, I was going to say Paul Kim, but Martin, the guy who runs Active Dorset, comes to the services committee and talks about the future plans for Redlands?
I think it would be more suitable for member briefings, and we can
Yes.
certainly talk.
Okay, member briefings, yes, that's probably a better way.
Yep, agreed.
Thank you.
Make it so.
Well, you can put it to the vote.
We can.
You propose it and vote on it if everybody's in
Don't we
agreement.
invite Active
I'm
Dorset?
quite happy that it's noted by
Yeah.
the clerk of the meeting.
Grant,
Yeah.
it's there. You underline it, please. Councillor Dickens. All good. Any other specific items that people would like to talk to on the reserves as they are, or? And we haven't suggested any changes, so there are none to vote on.
We're deferring that till later on.
We are, unless anyone is in
Yeah.
disagreement. There's nothing we need to vote on that, is there?
I would just vote, Chair, that discussions are deferred.
I propose that discussions are deferred until a future meeting. Councillor Bell's seconded it. Vote for. Thank you very much. Item 10, budget working group. It's that time of year already. Ian.
So we're just looking for, we traditionally have 4 members on the working group. It'd be useful to have those members nominated and agreed now. And then we can decide what the format that budget monitoring working groups work is, because it might need to be slightly different from previous years. But if we can have those members voted on, then and agreed, then that would be good, so that we can start discussions.
That's exhausting.
Absolutely. Would anyone like to put their hand up to be on that committee? And so as chair, I should probably be on that committee. Councillor Nicholson's ready to have another year, as is Councillor Weller. Thank you very much.
We put the dream team back together, Caroline.
We're getting the phone back. Yeah.
We're not me and Caroline.
Okay, and
With permission, Chair, that Councillor O'Leary has asked if he could be on it.
okay,
Okay, because he unfortunately can't make it tonight.
no, fair enough.
Never been called a green team before?
No, I haven't. It's not a number. I
Observation, Chair, not to disagree, because there's no stipulation of who should or shouldn't be on. Traditionally, we've had and we previously extended the invitation to a member of the Green Party, so that we've got 4 parties. So there is an option, it's not so it's stone, we only need 4 members may wish to offer that invitation and then have that in mind.
Yes.
5 plus 1. Or 4 plus 1 is 5 people.
It's just, it gives us the 5 members, and then we've got 4.
No, I absolutely support the inviting one of the green group.
We've already got 5 here.
To that, but-
This would be 6.
Yes, that's
Good.
yes.
Yeah, one.
Councillor O'Leary, Councillor Nicholson, Councillor Vernon, Councillor Sybil,
Councillor Weller.
Plus eight.
And then councillor
That's
O'Reilly.
not agree.
I think if again, that's slightly human events. Yeah, if I'm honest with you, because it's getting close to the whole committee.
Can I just ask where you're gonna get this plus A green from?
The green group.
We
on our
issue
council-
the invitation.
Yes. The,
If someone needs to step down, I'll step down to break Caroline's heart as one of the sides. But if you do need somebody to step down,
Yeah.
I've got enough going on in life.
thank you,
So I
councillor.
would go for Caroline. I don't mean like that.
Okay then, in that case, can I propose that, thank you for that, councillor Thurman,
Yeah,
that's
no
very
worries.
appreciated. That we vote on myself and councillors O'Leary, Nickinson, that's what that doesn't work, and Weller to be the four persons from this committee on the budget working group, and that we extend an invitation to the Green Group for them to add a fifth member.
And if they refuse, we'll post that they will still stay on then.
No, he's dead to us.
Said that
Yes.
to me earlier as well, just. Don't forward it.
So that's my proposal. Would anyone like to second that scenario?
I don't want to suck it. Can I ask a question instead?
Yes, that sounds reasonable.
I didn't think, I mean, not that I've got a problem with Caroline being on the committee. I mean, if people want to, go for it, Caroline, but I thought councillor Dickinson was subbing tonight and wasn't on F and G, but am I making a mistake?
You're not making a statement, but she's.
But still fine to be on the committee, fine, just that was it, just wondered.
Councillor O'Leary was going to propose me tonight anyway for that.
Out of the working
Are you
group,
upsetting?
you're gonna accept his proposal as well as.
No.
It's a very popular Caroline.
Let me clarify.
This is
I still proposed it. Would anyone like to second it? Thank you, councillor Thurman. Pass his finger first then. Votes for. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Please note the information items regarding the new town hall, the actions from the previous meetings and the forward plan. Please nod if you have noted. Oh, that's
I've noted, and I'm just looking at the town clerk. On the forward plan for the full council, I'd like to suggest that we do pick up an items in the Weymouth neighbourhood plan.
That's fine, we can add that to the forward plan.
I'm happy to confirm that that is now on the forward plan,
Oh,
but it
forward, yeah.
wasn't at the time of dispatch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, well, the purpose of that is to, for the council to agree the steering group's recommendation to accept the examiner's proposed changes to the neighbourhood plan and to endorse the plan moving forward to referendum.
Understood.
So it'd be a decision, not an info item on the full council.
Yep, that makes sense. That was the next step, wasn't it? Good. Let's consider those noted. At this point, we are at the exclusion of the press and public bodies at the moment. If that means we can turn our hour on. Is that great? If you vote for it.
Just to note, Chair, as previously due to the sensitive nature of the items on which.
Absolutely, yes, that is important. Thank you. So we will just quick vote on that. We votes for going in. I'll propose it.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much.
Well voted.
For.
That's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Who was the second?